let's talk about stoner rock and desert rock. What is your opinion about these labels?
Um, I think, there, there's there's always a need for people to have a way to communicate about styles of styles of music, film, of whatever it is. People need these like little taglines to
Get oriented.
like to orientate, yeah. So, I understand that. I don't identify with I guess I feel a little more comfortable with the desert rock one because it's so wide open and there's no relationship to drugs. Or I always thought the stoner rock one was I didn't never not that I have any opinion about drugs or pot or anything like that. I don't have any opinion about that at all. I don't care. But I always thought it was a bit limiting in the way that it was. It just sounded so limiting to me. But like in the 60s, they had acid rock and they had psychedelic rock, and it all stems from the drug experience. I get that. But I liked desert rock kind of because it gave our music scene some sort of acknowledgement, and it also was so wide open that you couldn't really, by saying it, you didn't really get an impression of a sound in your head. When people say stoner rock, the first thing I think of is like Sweet Leaf from Black Sabbath. It's like that pretty much sums up the sound of stoner rock. Heavy, detuned, Sabbath influenced. And when I was a kid, I remember when I first heard Black Sabbath, my brother was playing the first record in his bedroom with the black lights on and everything. It kind of sorry, man, people are calling me. Anyway, yeah, we use it to describe. We hashtag stoner rock, Yawning Man, hashtag stoner, because people look there for, that we're part of that music scene, and it just is what it is. So it's a way of communicating. I don't tend to use it to describe our music. I don't think it really does describe our music very well. But I'm fine with using it as a communication tool.
How then? How are your feelings then towards being called one of the fathers or the fathers of stoner and desert rock?
That was another thing that I don't know who started that, but I think what it was Caius mentioned in an interview, either Hami or Brandt, mentioned that they used to come watch us play or come to, those guys used to practice. Caius were sons of Caius, they were called at the time, or maybe even Katz and John. They used to practice in my garage. And so, a journalist will hear that story and then say, oh, well, this guy was there, started this or that. I didn't start. I mean, when I was when I was 14, I started playing in bands around here, and there was already some punk bands in Palm Springs. There was a guy named a band called Target 13, and there was a skateboard shop owned by a guy named Mike Bates. He had the band. There was already, and these guys, I was looking at them like, oh, I want to do that, you know. So it's one of those things that like some guy wrote that, and then people use it. They use it like the term stoner rock to describe this thing. But no, what I did is me and my cousin, especially Larry, we set up shows. You know, we loved to set up, perform. Our parents were in the restaurant business, in the entertainment business. They were singers and had a restaurant. So they were putting on parties every night, basically. When you came to our family's restaurant, they sang to you and they fed you and you had drinks. So it was in my blood to like throw parties, to like put on events. It was in my blood. Like I knew how to do it as a kid, you know? So we did that. We were active in making this music scene have events, have shit where people got together, whether it was a generator party or a gig at a restaurant or a pool hall. We made the flyers, we booked the bands, we stood at the front door and took the $5. We brought the PA system. And then eventually in the 90s, I opened a nightclub, the first real rock and roll club that this area ever had. So people were like, well, this dude did a bunch of stuff to make shit happen for people to come out. But Godfather it's you know, I'm not comfortable with that at all. I'm not, I would never say, and the legend word, somebody used that to describe the band and about the movie. And I was like, well, I'm going to use it. It was a quote for the movie. I'm going to use it, but it was like I'm totally uncomfortable. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm Mr. Modest guy, or want to be real modest and humble. It honestly feels like uncomfortable to use those words, because all we did is set up shows. We did stuff. We kept busy and we didn't do it because we were making money or anything. We just did it because we loved to do it. Like guys love to go out and skateboard, or love to go out and go surfing, or they love to go play fucking golf. We love to go play music. So we're just doing this shit for the fun of it. But it was a lot. Like did it a lot. We just kept busy doing it. And so people look at it like we started something, but we didn't start anything. We just kept, you know, we were inspired by the punk scene. And the punk scene was do shit yourself. You don't need to send demo tape to that booking agent to get a gig at that club. You fucking do it yourself. Get a warehouse, go out in the desert, set up your own show. That's what we did. And so people think like, you know, there was something, I started something. I didn't start anything. I was just doing what other guys are doing. But, you know, I'm flattered by it. It's cool, but I don't feel it's true. So instead of feeling flattered for something I did or feeling respect, I feel uncomfortable because it's not really the truth. You know, it's like blown out of proportion. You know what I mean? That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, maybe you to have a genre of music or whatever you need, I guess, a scene. Of course, there's no single person doing. But I mean, for sure, you helped a lot on developing that. That I mean, you just as you just said.
Sure.